Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. So, I just finished watching the Santa Claus 2, and I'm starting to see a pattern here. Which I don't know if if you guys have been watching the Santa Clauses, but there's starting to I'm starting to see a pattern here. And the franchise is a pretty good franchise, okay? Now, the Santa Claus franchise is I'm starting to see, like, with every iteration or every reintroduction or introduction. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but every addition, right, to the franchise, every add-on kind of builds off of where we left off, each character and each character development. Now, the first one is clearly Tim Allen's Santa, taking up the Santa mantle, and him kind of having to learn the ropes of what it takes to be a Santa or be Santa. This one is a kind of complicated. This one, he has to get married. He has to, not only get married, he has to find true Santa love. He has to propose. He has to get married. He has to, before he, just to stay Santa. And on top of that, he has to fight a evil toy version of himself, which does not sound pleasant. Which he kinda created himself. Which is very interesting. And the funny thing is, he is kind of the main MCU Santa that we've been following this whole entire time. We just haven't been noticing, if that makes sense. And here's why. The X-Men, right? The X-Men are still out and about. And I'm talking, this is before we knew the MCU to be the MCU. This is before Iron Man, Captain America becomes unfrozen and whatnot. Like, this comes 1 year. So let's give a little rundown of what happens, okay? Before, after, and after, okay? So when the Great Depression Santa, or 19th centuries, 1900s Santa takes up the mantle from 1800s, or like 1850 Santa, maybe 1830 Santa. Steve Rogers is born. Steve Rogers goes into tries to become a soldier, keeps getting rejected over and over and over again. By the time Captain America, Steve Rogers, gets injected with super soldier serum, he becomes Great Depression Santa, aka Miracle on 34th Street Santa. And that's like the turn of the century. That's like 1899, give or take. So like, yeah, he's had a pretty decent run as Santa, maybe. I don't know how Santa chooses his I don't know how the Santas in the franchise chooses their Santa apprentice, which it's gonna be complicated, but yeah, he's on his Santa watch, the Hulk is being abused by his dad. The X-Men are forged and formed, but with Sophie Turner's Jean Grey and stuff like that. The X-Men, the first class and the second class of X-Men take up, they fight Kevin Bacon, they fight Apocalypse, they fight Jean Grey and the other versions of, and they fight the other big bads of the X-Men team or villains. Blade is born. Howard the Duck comes to Earth somehow, some way, shape, or form. Blade is killing other vampires. I don't know. Werewolf by Night is still probably out there. Who knows? Star-Lord is kidnapped by Yondu. Captain America's gets injected by the super soldier serum, and gets frozen in ice. Wolverine is fighting in multiple wars at this point, and in World War II, World War I, he's been in pretty much every war. I guess I don't know how things are unfolding and whatnot. Monica's born. Miss Marvel is born. Gets hit by the Tesseract and gets abducted by the second Mr. Marvel, or the second Captain Marvel. So it's all on 1900s Great Depression, Miracle on 34th Street Santa's hands that he's dealing with all this stuff. And then by the time Tim Allen's Santa Claus enters the picture, he's still Iron Man is not Iron Man. The Hulk is about to come out. Spider-Man, just started his superheroism or his crime fighting. Then we have the third class of X-Men, which we see with we get Wolverine, which makes sense in some weird way. Blade is starting to go out in public. Hellboy is starting to be discovered, or starting to is starting to be public knowledge. Ghost Rider is still not Ghost Rider, is not Ghost Rider yet, but he will be Ghost Rider. Daredevil, Matt Murdock, Ben Affleck's Daredevil, is still Daredevil at this point, or is Daredevil at this point, but he's not public knowledge yet, so makes sense. Elektra's, I don't know, doing pre-Elektra stuff. Thomas Jane's Punisher's not still a cop, aka war hero, vet, or whatever, I think. So that's still going on, I guess. I don't know how that's going. But then everything changes after Santa Claus 2. Everything that happens is still happening. So, and Loki, another version of Loki, is doing time traveling, timey-wimey stuff and interacting with the previous Kang before the Kang we get introduced to becomes the same version of Kang we are introduced to at the end of Loki, modern day Loki. This is all happening prior to this. This is another version of Loki season 1 and 2. So things kind of shift by this point in time. So whatever happens is happening to make the Fox X-Men MCU split with the MCU we've been following since 2008. So, yeah. I don't know if this is... I don't know. This is just a fan theory portion. So, who knows if I'm right or wrong at this point. It's just a fun fan theory. So, yeah. And it picks up 8 years after, which also, timeline-wise, is kind of, I want to say, accurate, because Charlie is specifically 8 years old by the beginning and end of the Santa Claus 1, Tim Allen's The Santa Claus, and he's at least 16, specifically 16, throughout the whole second Santa Claus, which means his half-sister, Lucy, is at least 7, which means she was born in 1995. Which is accurate. So, Charlie and Lucy are at least 9 years apart. Adds up, if you ask me. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys so far for right now. Please like, share, subscribe, and have a good day. Thanks.